BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the UK.
Nikki Campbell.
Listen live, pause, rewind and discover with the BBC Sounds app.
Seeing someone you haven't seen for years. That's what we're talking about this morning for obvious reasons. Big news story today. Dr. Rachael Molitor is with us, chartered psychologist, lecturer in psychology at Coventry University. What's it like to see each other again for the first time? Has it been wonderful or harder than expected? I am privileged, through long lost family, have been present at many extraordinary reunions. But those are very often people who've never met before or have met before, but one was a babe in arms. So anyway, how do you rebuild these relationships? Friends, family, want to hear from you. Your stories of being reunited, 08085 909 693. And drop us a text, 85058. Dr. Rachael Molitor is a chartered psychologist, lecturer in psychology at Coventry University. Rachael, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Yeah. And James, thanks for asking, by the way. Do you want the truth? I'm feeling a little bit worse for wear after having eggnog last night. Eggnog. I don't recommend it with rum. Oh my goodness me, no. It's the time of year you just kind of think, yeah, why not? And then you wake up in the morning and you realise why not. James. It's all right. It's fine. James in Liverpool, you were reunited with somebody after a long, long time. What happened? Yeah, amazing. Rachael, isn't the passage of time a funny old thing?
Oh, it really is. It really is, especially seeing people from such a long time ago. So you have that friendship, you have that relationship with them. And then lives do inevitably move along. We find different people, we have different social connections. And then to be able to move back and find someone. And you do have that moment where you go, actually, I recognise that person. I'm not sure where they've come from. And it normally is because they're outside of the environment that you're used to. So the amount of times I've walked past people in the street and actually I think, I recognise you from somewhere, but I'm not quite sure where. I can't quite print where it actually has come from. And then when you get talking to someone, you actually realise there's someone from maybe your gym you'll go to, or your school friend or your college friend or university. And it's just amazing seeing how that passage of time can actually bring you back together again and find those comparisons, those things that you actually enjoy and you chat about, and things that you are used to chatting about at university or school or college.
Yeah, it's the amazing coincidence of it all as well. There have been times where I can think of one particular example, being on a tube, they're on the Northern Line, and they're sitting strap hanging beside you, somebody you have not seen for years, and you think, well, this is incredible, this is utterly amazing. And then you wonder how many other tube carriages there are where there are people who you haven't seen for years, but you haven't gotten in those tube carriages. It's the classic sliding doors, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Absolutely is. And I find it really interesting now when we see in the world of social media, as we were just saying on the call, that before the world of social media, we would meet up with someone, we might have the inevitable Christmas card of what's going on in people's lives, whereas now we kind of follow on with people, whether with your caller saying about seeing them on X or seeing them on Facebook, and being able to actually follow people's lives in a social media capacity then can help you to sort of remember what it is they're doing, but also keep up with them. And that can be a challenge as well. When I've met up with friends that maybe I haven't seen for years, but then I've seen them through Facebook, I meet up with them and I know exactly what their new child is called or where they've moved to, and actually you're kind of doing a conversation, a communication without actually interacting with that person, which I think is really important for our social health and social well-being.
More to come. Tell us about your extraordinary reunions. It's 12 minutes past 10 o'clock. 08085 909 693. Give us a call and send a text as well, 85058. Right, we're talking about reunions. Rick in Liverpool, Mark in Carlisle, and Rachael Molitor, doctor, chartered psychologist, lecturer in psychology at Coventry University. And Rachael, I was just thinking, it's good to be back with you. It's good to be reunited with you after that hiatus, the Harry hiatus. It's slightly different now with FaceTime, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So when you get to be able to see people, actually having that connection, that visual sort of cue to being able to talk to people, I think that can sort of help and support something which we have in sort of the psychology of reunions, which is something called cognitive dissonance. And this is basically when the memory of that person may conflict with actually the reality of what you see in that present time. So when you would have a reunion and say meet up with someone a year or two down the line, they may have, as I said, like different, they may look different, they may sound different, they may have had a different life experience. Whereas things such as being able to see people and talk to people. And I think that was a real benefit, if I can say that came out from the pandemic and the lockdown that we had, is actually we got more people online to be able to see and chat to, and to be able to reunite with people who we actually kind of didn't even realize was still part of our sort of periphery of our social group.
Good morning, Rick, in Liverpool. Yeah, what a wonderful story, Rachel. But I suppose there are the thoughts there about what you miss out on, what you have missed out
absolutely.
on.
Yeah, there are so many things that you can miss out on people's lives, but that is why we can have that sort of communication. We can phone, we can message. You're absolutely right. There is this difference between being on the screen or on the phone, as we are at the moment, to actually having someone with you in that real life, and also being able to talk to someone and seeing someone's body language as well. How they communicate on the phone is very different to what they may be feeling, or the way they see and they act when they're actually with you. So I think it's so important when you have that time to be able to catch up with them, to talk about everything, but to also talk about nothing, to have that time to be able to just enjoy with them, and to be able to just see what's going on in their lives. What do they want to talk about? There will be a lot of mixed emotions. There's going to be change, and it's that sort of communication and understanding that these sort of reunions can express feelings you may not even know, and it's understanding other people's sort of perceptions of how they're feeling, and to be able to really get together and talk about everything together.
And I just thinking about that, if we do have an image in our minds, Rachel, of that railway platform, the Second World War. I mean, it must have been so difficult to rebuild that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is really difficult when you're coming home and you're having that. So when you're seeing sort of the family coming back and everyone coming back together, that reunion for both people, it's an emotional roller coaster for both sides. Whether it be people coming back from the military or people waiting for people to come back from the military, and it is that sort of slotting back into every life, while also understanding that lives, I wouldn't say have moved on, but people have experienced different things on both sides. And similar to as you were saying before with the sliding doors, we all have a slightly different memory of what's been happening the past couple of months. And it's about coming back and reconnecting and understanding that we all might potentially have some emotional challenges. It's about reconnecting and coping with that change that may have happened while people have been away from home, or while people have been at home waiting for people who are away from home to come back.
That's one of the great sayings, isn't it? What a small world. That is one of the absolute truisms, Rachel.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. You think you can see someone in such a random environment, a random place. The amount of times I've been on holiday and I've seen people and I've thought, hang on a minute, I recognise you, and it's happened to be like someone who said from school or from university, and you go, how have we both got here at this exact same moment? And it's amazing when you look at it. You think that you may be meeting many people around the world, but actually it just so happens you meet those one people, whether it be on holiday or whether it be out on New Year's Eve, to be able to meet someone and go, how do we both get to this exact same situation? I mean, a small world, it really is.
Yeah, but people say, what an incredible coincidence. It was meant to be. Well, it was meant to be because it would be an incredible coincidence if there were no incredible coincidences. And think of all the people that you've nearly met and might have met had you turned another direction or gone through another door, who were also there. Because you have those conversations, don't you? Were you there on that day? I was there on that day. But you never met them. You never saw them.
Absolutely.
You never bumped into them.
The psychology of coincidence is just fabulous. So I find it's amazing. People say, oh my goodness, we were meant to have done this, or how has this happened? And actually, as you were saying, you might have taken a slightly different route and never met them and thought nothing of it. You wouldn't have gone home a different day having just met someone or missed someone in the supermarket by 10 minutes and gone, goodness, I've missed them. Whereas the fact that you saw them at that time, you automatically go, it was meant to be. And the psychology of coincidence and counterfactual thinking is just so interesting to know how we kind of, we look as a human, we look for behaviours the whole time. We look for patterns. We always look.
We seek patterns, yeah.
We seek patterns in everything that we do. And that is exactly what coincidences are.
Yeah, we are. Absolutely, as Christopher Hitchens famously said, we are pattern-seeking mammals, and we look for those explanations, don't we? And I always think that tube train where I saw my friend I hadn't seen for years and years and years on that particular carriage at the end of the station, of all the other 15 carriages, maybe there were people in every single carriage I hadn't seen for years and years and years. We're talking about reuniting. It's 10:31. Paul in York coming up. Hi, Paul. Rob in Ebervale. Tell us your story, Rob. Morning. Yeah, Rachel, do you want to come in here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sounds like there is a lot of sort of mixed emotions going on here, and I think it's really important that you've just been to saying how there may have been anger and things there, but by letting that go and actually being patient and listening to each other, I think it's going to be such a fabulous, as you said, reuniting not only with your daughter but with the grandchildren as well. And it's those moments where we can just sit down and show interest in each other's lives and sort of have that realistic expectations. We aren't going to be able to slot straight back into normality, but actually to have those conversations and be patient to listen to others. And I just have to note as well, absolute congratulations for doing the date of birth thing, because I've heard so many issues around hacking messages beforehand. So when you said that, I just thought that was really, really good to do. I know it sounds so unusual to ask for your daughter's own date of birth, but I've had messages myself from this, so well done.
The number of people who initially they think it's a scam. It's almost like the default position, Rachel, these days, because there are such so many wicked people doing that.
There really is. It's such a shame, because we have to kind of live this life with the negative, with this sort of distrust that actually what could be, as we're saying with this situation at the moment, actually there may be someone getting back in touch and it being a genuine thing. Whereas we do have people in this world that try to take advantage of our need for human relationship. And as we said before, with humans always trying to look for patterns, we're always also people, we are social beings. We're trying to find these relationships, and especially rebuilding relationships we may have had a struggle with in previous time, and looking at different situations, whether it be with reunions, as we've been talking, with friends and family and long lost loved ones, or people coming back from the military. We're always trying to rebuild those relationships, and it's so important when we focus on this, just to be able to hope and be positive when people are trying to get in contact. But obviously, as we were saying with Paul here, to really focus on ensuring that it isn't a scam, because that's some of the problems I've seen recently with people on Facebook and messaging you saying, I haven't seen you for a long time, and it's only then you see from their other social medias they put on a story or a post to say, I've been scammed. And it is such a shame when this happens, and we were trusting beings, and unfortunately we are leaning towards being more untrusting, just because of the current climate and situation that hackers and scammers are creating.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the UK.
Nikki Campbell.
Listen live, pause, rewind and discover with the BBC Sounds app.